Monica, good news.
Yes.
While that title card was playing, I went into the back, my lab that I have that's always been there, and I figured out a way to get that alien off of me.
I didn't know you were that smart.
I'm very smart. Actually, that was really rude. I'm going to continue to tell my story and pretend you didn't make a really rude comment. So as I was using science to get rid of the alien,
Yeah.
I checked on my bat potion that I've been working on.
Oh my God,
to
really?
cure my crippling blood disease that you knew that I had, that I've had since birth.
Yeah, that we have fundraisers every year for you.
Yes, bad news. The bat thing made me into a vampire. But
Do
a
you
good
sparkle?
No.
Oh.
I'm a good vampire though. I only drink artificial blood, so you don't have to worry about me going after you.
Okay, that's cool.
This sounds like the plot of Morbius.
You know what it does?
And you know what you did? I'm going to give you a break with reading. I'm going to read this one.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because I want to give you a break, and not because I can actually see now.
Can you?
Yes. I still have the indents on my face.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, I really hope that alien doesn't come back after we review this movie.
Oh, man.
All right. One of the most compelling and conflicted characters in Sony Pictures Marvel Universe arrives as Oscar winner Jared Leto, 2013 Best Supporting Actor, Dallas Buyers Club, transforms into the enigmatic. Did they use that in that other one too? Enigmatic.
Enigmatic? Do you mean like in...
Yeah, did they use that in one of those?
Like I fucking remember.
Anti-hero Morbius, dangerously ill with a rare blood disorder, like me, and determined to save others suffering his same fate. Dr. Michael Morbius attempts a desperate gamble. While at first it seems to be a radical success, a darkness inside him is unleashed.
Ooh.
Will good override evil? Or will Morbius succumb to his murderous new urges? So I have a full review of this movie. I saw this with Crystal.
Okay.
We went to the theater to see this one, and we gave it its own review.
And how did you two feel about this movie?
We didn't like it. So I guess go back and watch, if you want like a whole breakdown of this film, go back and watch that episode. But I was watching it again.
Yeah.
When you came here, I had it on. I still don't like it. Okay, so when it comes to Morbius,
Yes.
I might have read some comics, but most of my knowledge comes from the old cartoon, the 90s cartoon, where he wasn't allowed to drink blood. They made him like an energy vampire who like sucked your energy through his hands. This was on Fox Kids.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, thank you, Ren on the Shave, for sending us these Spider-Man the Cartoon animated series. We have the Morbius figure there. He was part of, like, remember season 2 was like one running story where like Spider-Man was turning into a spider person. Like, I know he was already Spider Person, but like the mutant spider one.
Okay.
Morbius played into that whole plot line. And so he was like a character who was popping up during that whole thing. He fought Blade in that. That was when they redid Blade's origin, and that origin was what they used for the movie. Speaking of, this wouldn't have been the first Morbius movie.
Oh, we were supposed to have another one?
The very end of the first Blade film.
Yes.
If you rewatch it, his last conversation with the main girl kind of ends awkwardly. Like as if they were like about to say more, and it just like great movie, but they're like, that ended weird. He was gonna look off camera and they were gonna notice that there was a man on a rooftop with his head bandaged up.
Okay.
Implying it was another vampire, and he's wearing like a coat, and the implication was that was Morbius.
Checking in.
Yes, and if I remember right, go back and check out the Blade episodes. I think New Line, whoever produced that, they realized, they're like, oh, we actually aren't allowed to use that character. So they're like, let's just cut that ending out. Remember, they actually also reshot the whole ending of that movie. Blood tornado. Blade was going to fight a blood tornado. the bad guy. Remember I was saying how like the bad guys in these movies, they turn into something and make it worse. We almost got that in Blade. He was going to turn.
I would have been interested to see that.
They never finished the effects, so you can look it up on the DVD, and the effect is unfinished, and it's real awkward. It's like Steven Dorff? It's him like blue screened, poorly compiled, because they were going to make him all bloody, but instead he's just floating on a.
It's like a genie.
And Blade was going to break the vial, and it was going to spin into the blood tornado and kill him. And luckily, someone went, "That sucks. Just have him fight him with the sword and hit him with the thing."
We got swords. Just use them.
Everyone likes the swords. They don't care about a blood tornado. So that would have been Morbius's first film. I don't really know a lot about Morbius. I don't care about it. Here's the thing. I'm sure all of these characters have been an anti-hero at some point. But other than Venom, I think they're all just villains. Like, I'm sure Morbius has been an anti-hero, but he's mostly a villain, right?
Gonna be honest, I can't.
He's not one of your favorite Spider-Man characters?
I don't.
I feel like he's one of those that like,
I would be lying to you right now if I was just like, this is his whole backstory. This is what he's about.
I feel like he's one of those characters that like starts off, like, I think he started off as a Spider-Man thing, and then they're like, we're going to put you with Blade. You fit in over there more. Kind of like Wolverine was a Hulk character. And like, you know what, let's take you and put you in the X-Men. So this film, how did you feel about this one?
So I did not see this in theaters.
What? You couldn't rush to the theater?
No, did not happen. I didn't even go to see it in theaters when it came back out for another rerun.
I can't believe they fell for that.
Yeah, they got real excited about that.
But when we filmed the review, like those memes were kind of starting, but they didn't blow up until after we shot the review. So I kind of wish we would have been in on the memes, but we were too early.
So yeah, I just watched it when it came on some streaming service. I don't remember.
I think they shot it on Netflix pretty quick.
Yeah.
And you were like, they got it right. That's the Morbius.
I was like, this movie is amazing. Just give it to me all the time.
It's Morbid time.
Morbid time. I fucking love vampires and bats. True story, I do love bats. Like,
vampire bats. Those are the bats that he was investigating, vampire bats, which are like not like that intimidating in real life.
They're pretty cute, honestly.
They're cute. They're tiny.
They're little sky puppies. Someone's gonna hate me for saying that. But yeah, I also was a big Matt Smith girly.
Okay, so how did you feel about him in this as Milo?
What? Not great.
I saw, was it Jarrett Harris or Jarrett
Harris.
Jarrett Harris, who I just talked about we reviewed the 90s Lost in Space movie. Do you remember that one?
I do.
So he's Will Robinson when they go to like the future.
Oh,
but he like couldn't shake the accent that he had. So I didn't realize it until I rewatched it and looked at the thing. He's completely dubbed in that movie because he just couldn't do the American accent.
I mean, to be fair, we were kids. We wouldn't have noticed.
I think someone asked him recently, like, "Oh, why'd you do Morbius?" He's like, "I got a mortgage to pay."
I do love when we see some of these movies. Yeah. They're like, yeah, like they have stuff they have to pay for. Like this is why they're doing it. This wasn't a passion project for them.
Yeah, I don't know who this movie's for other than
Jared Leto.
Was he like a driving force behind this or?
I don't know, but he was like a driving force behind like the Morbid time, and like he was like, yeah, people fucking love this movie. Like, let's put it back in theaters again.
He did read like the Morbid time stuff.
And he was like trying to play into the joke, and it's just like, no, dude.
Well,
like,
he was also trying to redeem himself for being the worst Joker.
Yeah, like
I feel like he's like, you know what? He's like, you know what? I got a bad reputation as the Joker. I think Morbius will turn this ship around. And it's like, uh-oh, it's so much worse.
What did you do?
So yeah, it's so stupid. It's like, yeah, he's got this crippling disease. And he's the greatest scientist of all time. And he's going to mix with bat DNA.
Honestly, every scientist in the Spider-Man universe has some issue that drove them to become a scientist.
Stan Lee.
Nobody's ever a scientist just for the pure love of science.
Yeah, Stan Lee and all them, they're great. They're great.
Yeah.
They kind of just did Jekyll and Hyde over and over again. Can we be honest? Like, it's fine. It was meant for kids in like the 60s. It didn't have to be thought provoking. But when you really go into it, it's like, I want my arm back. I'll use lizard DNA. Oh no! Like my blood's bad. I'll use bat DNA. Oh no!
What is his voice?
It's like my
No!
or they fell into something. Oh no! I'm a Sandman now. And what do they do when they get that power? They go, well, I'm gonna rob stores and banks.
I need to become more powerful, and I need all the other scientists to accept me.
Like Sandman, he's like, I am basically a god. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go get money.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? You don't need money. You're good. But yeah, I don't think Stan Lee even had anything really to do with Morbius, if I'm remembering correctly.
Not sure.
But yeah, so he does this experiment and it works, but it makes him a really CGI vampire. Okay, the Venom movies...
Not the hot kind of vampire.
Yeah, no. The Venom movies, there's hit or miss CGI there. Some of it looks a little dated. The Morbius, the CGI is garbage. He looks... They should have just did the prosthetic. I don't know why they did what they did.
Yeah.
It looks really bad. And I've seen digital, like, faces that get, like, shrunk. I'm having a hard time picking one. But I've seen it done well. Maybe it needs to be used sparingly. Like, you can't show it in slow motion constantly.
But I feel like if they used the prosthetics and then mixed the CGI, it wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah. Well, like Red Skull. They do that with Red Skull.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or like recently Fallout, the ghoul.
Oh, Walter Goggins character.
Yeah. I guess they just didn't want to have makeup on set. They had to shoot this thing really quick. It's bland. It is a very bland. This is like by the numbers superhero origin. And it has
for somebody that like you don't really care about. Like he's not a massive name in the comics.
I'm sure there are Morbius fans.
No, like there are gonna be, but it's not like Venom had that power behind his name. Like people knew who he was, and even if you didn't read comics, you probably knew who Venom was because of seeing him on covers or like cartoons or something. Like
he was very, very merchandised.
Yeah.
I mean, so was Morbius apparently,
yeah.
but nowhere near the level of Venom. Like in school, when we talk about the Spider-Man cartoon, we're like, yeah, Hobgoblin, Green Goblin, that. And they're like, oh, yeah, and I guess there was that vampire guy. Anyway, and then you move on to like the cool villains after that. Like no one was really into Morbius.
And
unless you're like a Blade guy.
Was this around the time that like Universal Pictures was trying to launch their Dark Universe?
No, that had already fell apart.
Had it? Okay. I was curious if like maybe they were like trying to push into that a little bit.
No. Maybe when they were developing it, maybe, but no, by the time they got around to shooting it, that was dead. Well, the Dark Universe is back. They saved the trademark for their theme park, and that's it.
Yeah.
So they had to... I love they're like, we got to do something with the trademark.
I'm excited to see it.
I'm excited too. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I will say the actress, Major Babe, she was in Hitman this year.
Adria Arjona?
Yes, that girl needs to be in more things. What's his name? Tyrese is in this, right?
Tyrese Gibson as Simon Stroud.
Yes, and they make like one comment that he's like, your synthetic blood saved me. And then like, there's just random shots where he'll have a cyborg arm, kind of. Not like a full cyborg arm. And then like, I remember when we did the review, Jess, when she was editing, she like put like a still frame up and she made a note. She's like, what the hell's up with that guy's arm? Because it was just like so randomly just there. And it's like, what was the point of that? So you liked Matt Smith, but he didn't do it for you in this, right?
I mean, granted, the dance.
The dance is very famous with the song, which I've now learned since our review. It's saying excess, but it still sounds like the song is saying have sex. Have sex.
So yeah, he's more of the evil vampire.
Yeah. So Venom 1. Who's the bad guy? Gray Venom. Venom 2. Who's the bad guy? Red Venom. Morbius. Who's the bad guy? Short hair Morbius. It's like, oh my God, are all of these just going to be bad guy, just slightly different? Like, you can only do that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate the action scenes in this. With the sound wave effect, like the sound trail. It's cool sometimes, but then it's very distracting other times. And it just makes it hard to see. Do you remember how Milo dies?
Honestly, no.
How could you forget this wonderful scene? You love bats so much. They're in the subway, and somehow Morbius can communicate with bats. And wouldn't you know it, in the subway of New York, there's just millions and millions and millions of bats.
Yeah, it's dark and, damp down there.
They're just always, you'd think you'd see them flying around at night more, but there's just so like an unnatural amount of bats in there. He summons all the bats, and then he makes a ball of he makes the bats fly in a ball. And
I don't know how I don't remember this.
And he pushes
like Kamehameha thing.
Pretty much. He Kamehamehas it. And then he's flying, and I'm not really sure how he's flying. That really doesn't make sense with bat DNA. How does Morbius fly? Because bats have webbed hands that they flap. That's how they do it, but he doesn't have that.
Don't his hands kind of get long and... Am I making this up?
They're not webbed, no. He's just literally, he's riding the sound waves, which I guess is how they figured out. I don't know. It's so stupid. The bad guy sucks. Again, we're having trouble remembering it. And we literally just had it on. But here's my big problem with the film.
Yeah.
How they advertised it.
Tell me more.
Super misleading. Because this is after like No Way Home. Or was this before No Way Home?
This
is 2022.
I think this was after.
Yeah, it was after. But they were advertising it before No Way Home.
Okay.
So they added stuff to the trailer to make it seem like it was part of like a bigger thing that ended up not being the movie. They show Oscorp Tower, specifically the Andrew Garfield Oscorp Tower.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a scene where like Michael, when he escapes jail and he's like going through the alley, there's a painting of Spider-Man. But it's the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, but specifically one of the wallpapers of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from the Spider-Man video game. And it says murderer on it. So implying that it takes place after Far From Home. That's not in the movie. That was in the trailer. Cut it out of the movie.
Okay.
They mentioned San Francisco in the movie, which hints to Venom. But there was a scene in the trailer where like he goes to scare a guy. He goes, "I am Venom." And he like turns into like
uses his vampire face to kind
of
do
but then he goes, "Oh, I'm kidding, I'm just Michael Morbius." I don't think that made it into the movie.
I am Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
I am Venom.
You can go now.
I think that was just something else they added. There was just weird shit that they were adding to make you feel, and they spoiled the Michael Keaton thing.
Oh, they did.
They put it in the teaser to make you think like, oh, this has to be in the MCU then. And maybe Venom has been in the MCU the whole time. But then that makes no sense because it's like, so No Way Home, the whole like, Peter does the stupid spell that brings people into his universe. But then I guess when it gets fixed, for no reason, it sends Michael Keaton's Vulture to the Morbius universe.
Yeah.
And then he makes a new Vulture suit. And then he meets up with Morbius and he's like, "I think Spider-Man's involved. Do you want to be a bad guy with me?"
Oh, yeah.
And Morbius, who's been a good guy this whole time, is like, "Sure." Wait, why? I don't get it. Why? I don't understand. And then apparently when it came out like on digital or whatever, they redubbed it to get rid of the Spider-Man mention. So it's like, well, what is that even, that scene? "Hi, I'm a Vulture Man from another universe. Want to be buddies?" And Morbius would be like, "I'm a blood doctor. This is out of my field. You want to find like, I don't know, someone else."
We can fly together. Do you want to fly?
Oh, we can fly. If you have questions about flying, I mean, we could probably help each other out, but I'm a blood-sucking vampire man. I don't know about the multiverse, buddy. This like feels like Sony didn't know what they were doing.
They had big ambitions.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah.
And it just fell apart.
It fell apart. And then they got tricked by the memes. They really thought
I don't like
people would watch it unironically.
I know like corporate like fat cats are very out of touch.
Mm-hmm.
But at no point they were just like didn't see these and thought it was just a joke. Like they were like, "No, the people want this. We're gonna re-release it."
Then it didn't work. I did love when they did the petition afterwards. They're like, "Oh, we were all busy that weekend."
We swear we'll come and we'll be dressed up. We'll have our little bats with us.
How bad do you think they felt when like all the Barbenheimer memes were coming out, and then that actually ended up working? They were like, "What the fuck? We got screwed by Minion or by Morbius." Oh wait, because that was the other one they were trying to do, the Gentle Minions. It was a bunch of men were going to go to the Minions movie in suits.
Oh, I remember that.
The Gentle Minion.
It was so weird.
Oh man, what a weird time, the Morbius memes. I just love, some of them are pretty good. I like the picture where it's like it's Jeb Bush like that, but it's Morbius's head over him, and it's like got the box office. It's like a
and then like it ruined the joke because like Jared Leto was constantly trying to do like it's Morbin time, and didn't he do it for something else?
Yeah, there was like they had a video of him like pretending to read a script, and he's like, the script said it's Morbin time.
Yeah. And he's just like winking at the camera and stuff. And it's just like, Jared Leto, no. Just stop.
I think someone,
please just go away.
Someone said it to Matt Smith, it's Morbin time. He had no idea what they were talking about. I was like, is it Morbin time? And he's like, what? he's so like not in on that.
He's not. I've seen him in other interviews and like they try to bring up pop culture stuff. And he's just like, I don't know.
Are we ever going to find out who he was in Star Wars? Are we ever going to find that out? I just remembered he was
in Star Wars?
He was supposed to be in Rise of Skywalker. His scene got like completely cut.
Oh.
And no one knows to this day what the fuck he was supposed to be.
And honestly, if you ask him, he probably won't.
He probably won't remember. They asked Michael Keaton about the Morbius thing. He's like, oh right, yeah, I just went there, shot it. Like, I love when people were like devastated over Batgirl not being released.
Oh yeah.
And they asked him, he's like, yeah, probably a good decision. He's like, I feel bad for those directors, but you know. Like everyone's like, oh man, we're robbed of Michael Keaton Batman, even though they didn't see the Flash. We're robbed of Michael Keaton Batman, and then like they asked Michael Keaton, he's like, I don't really care. I got a lot of stuff to do.
I mean, Brendan Fraser was in that movie, so he was excited for it.
Still haven't seen The Whale.
I haven't either. It is on something. It's on some streaming service.
Yeah, heard it was funny, but I didn't see it. I heard he falls, and I'm like, I want to see that.
The fuck? Okay.
It's funny because he's in a fat suit. He's not a real fat guy. I'm gonna watch that movie and I'm never gonna believe that he's a real fat guy. I'm gonna think it's Brendan Fraser in a big fat suit. I'm gonna go in thinking it's like a Eddie Murphy movie, like The Clumps. I'm gonna feel like I'm watching The Clumps 3. What was The Clumps called? Nutty Professor. I forgot the movie had an actual title.
No, it was hilarious. There was some movie I was watching on Amazon Prime, and it was completely different from like I think it was like a horror movie or something that I was watching. And then you know how sometimes it'll just auto start playing something after?
Yeah.
And it literally was like an Eddie Murphy movie. Like the beginning was like he's a baby and he gets left at the orphanage that the Chinese like restaurant owns an orphanage as well.
Okay.
And I'm like, what the like it started playing. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I realized it was like an Eddie Murphy movie. And I was like, why did Amazon Prime think this was the next thing I wanted to watch?
Dude, there are some, like, I'll realize I'll fall asleep to, like, movies in the sleep timer. And, like, when I go on, like, Tubi, it'll, like, show what autoplayed. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why did it pick that movie of all things?
Yeah, I was like, it wasn't even close. I'm like, whatever.
I'll wake up and, like, a different movie will be on. I'm like, what is going on?
And then it stays in like my continue watching.
Oh yeah, you have to like because you're never gonna not be lazy and like no one's gonna go and be like, let me remove it. It'll just be there forever.
It takes too many steps to figure it out. I'm like, I didn't even want to watch this, and now it's stuck in my continue watching.
There it is. It's just there forever. My favorite is when it's late at night and I put a movie on and I forgot like what movie I watched. And then, like, I turn, like, the app on. I'm like, oh, I watched The Killer Jack Frost again. I didn't realize I watched that. I'm like, for some reason, I've been watching that movie a lot. That's how bad Morbius is. We're now talking about
We're just talking about other stuff. Fat suits and Eddie Murphy and Amazon Prime, Tubi.
So, yeah, I don't even remember what the girl's deal was. She was in love with him, and
she was a fellow scientist.
Yeah. Does she become a vampire lady at the end? I don't think so, but...
Does she die? I feel like she dies.
She gets into a coma in the beginning. I don't think she dies, though.
This is going to take me a while. Hold on. What happens? Milo mortally wounds Martine, And then Morbius saves her by giving her a bloody kiss.
Right. Oh, that's how that's so stupid.
Morbius ending and what is happening with Martine Bancroft. Dies in Morbius is resurrected by the Darkhold.
What?
That's what it says in this article.
In like the comics?
Well, the Darkhold was part of Scarlet Witch's whole storyline.
In the comic? Why there was no Darkhold mentioned in Morbius though.
I don't.
It's not very good. It's not a very good movie. Do you have anything left to say about Morbius? Do you want to do the Milo dance? It's just this that cracks me
And then
up.
he does like.
You gotta do like that.
And yeah.
Remember he like flexes. He's like,
Oh yeah, he does. So.
Well, that's enough Morbius. We have another character.
It's no longer Morbid time.
Morbid time is done, Monica.
Morbid time's over?
Yeah, Morbid time, it's over. It's time for a different superhero with M in their name. Madam Web.